let's go over the instructions for Lab 8 in CSC 120. What we're going to do is we're going to modify the code that we had for Lab 6 with the roundheads to use an array of objects. So Lab 6, you had several, 6 or more, individual roundhead objects in the program. And so when you wanted them to move or change mood, in the MU panel class, you had to ask each one individually to move or to change mood. Well, that's okay if you have only 6 or 7, but what if you had 30 or 40 elements or objects? It would be ponderous to have that many statements asking each one individually to do it. So what we can do is we can store or represent the objects in an array and then use a loop to ask each individual element in the array to do the same task. So the starting point for Lab 8 is your Lab 6 program. Okay, so the starting point, here we are. The starting point is a working version of Lab 6. So if you had Lab 6 fully implemented, then you can use your Lab 6 program to start. If not, we're going to give you a starter program. Don't know why I can't, there we go. So if you right click on this zip file, that's a version of Lab 6 that works. So either way you want to work, either way you want to do it is fine. Now, what you're going to do then is edit mupanel.java, and you're going to remove the declarations of the separate roundhead objects, first one, second one, third one, whatever you called them. Okay? So you're going to remove the declarations of the separate objects and replace them with the declaration of an array of roundhead objects. Okay? Then, in the mupanel constructor method, you are going to instantiate the array of roundheads, and the question, you want to fill in a value that would cause the array to contain 19 elements. Okay? And then, here's a for loop that will, inside the body of the loop, we are instantiating one new roundhead object, the roundhead object that's in position index of the array. And since index is the control variable for the for loop, it starts at 0 and goes up by 1 and continues as long as it is less than the length of the array. So with 19 elements, the index will go from 0 up to 18. And for each one of those index values, you're going to instantiate a new roundhead. Now, these question marks represent the parameters that you're going to use. So you should make the roundhead excuse me, happy. The hat should be red. The over should be a formula, which is 30 times the loop control variable. So the for loop control variable is this thing that we are testing. So it should be 30 times that. Down should be 20 times the loop control variable. Vertical step size can be 15, horizontal can be 10, size should be 25, and nickname should be Sammy. Okay? So that will get things working. And then you need to modify the methods in mupanel that ask roundheads to move, change their mood, and draw themselves. The given code in Lab 6 has individual method calls, first one .drawG, second one .drawG, etc. You need to replace that with a loop like this, same heading, but then inside the body you would say rharray index.drawG. Or rharray index dot change mood. Okay? Okay. And then when you run the program, the output should show 19 roundheads in a diagonal line, and they should move and change and bounce off the walls correctly. Okay? Then you're going to be changing and doing these instructions. What if we don't want every roundhead to be happy with a red hat? We can choose different values. So you're going to have if statements that will do things here. Okay. And then you're going to add a new kind of object, which is called a star object. So you're going to have an array, also add to the program, you're going to have an array of roundheads, and then you're going to have an array of stars. Okay. So here's the star class. You want to declare an array of star objects, instantiate the array so that it contains 100 elements. And then in the constructor method, after you instantiate the array, you need a loop that will be executed once for each of the elements in the array of star objects. And the body of the loop should be 4 statements, declaring 2 integer variables x and y, set x to the following value with an assignment statement, set y to the following value with an assignment statement, and then instantiate one element of the array. And the parameters for the constructor method would be x and y. So you'll say whatever the name of the array is, bracket the control variable for the loop, equals new star, and then the parameters are x comma y. Okay. And then in the paint component method, you write a code that uses a loop to call the draw method for each star object in the array. And you want to draw the stars before you draw the round heads so that the stars are in the background. Okay. And if you do this, your program should look like this. And then you're also going to change the background to black. So here we have the array of round heads. They're all in a diagonal line. The first one and the last one have green hats. The others have red hats. Every other one is happy, and the alternating ones are sad. So we can change moods. They each change mood. And we can move them, and they move diagonally and bounce off the walls, etc. Okay. So kind of fun. And that's what your Lab 8 should look like, something like that. All right. So have fun with Lab 8, round heads, and stars in arrays.